Welcome to Conversations with Kay. I'm Kay Ryder. And every week I talk with Vermonters who are leaders in the fields of government, healthcare, education, the arts, and community life. And welcome to our listeners on WBVT LP 99.3 FM. Our guests today are from Dragonheart, Vermont. And we have Nina Atkinson, and she is the executive director, and Abby Kenney, who is the newest and youngest breast cancer survivor to join Dragonheart Vermont. They are both breast cancer survivors, as am I, and I'm delighted to have them here.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Nina, what is Dragonheart Vermont?
We're a nonprofit organization located right here in Burlington, Vermont. We are a club that practices dragon boat paddling on the water. We have some teams that do compete both nationally and internationally, but our main focus is to be a part of the community by giving back to the community.
Great. Now, what is a dragon boat? What does a dragon boat look like, Abby?
It's a long wooden boat. The sport originated in China, correct? Mm-hmm. So you have 20 paddlers. There are 10 rows of wooden benches, so 2 paddlers on each bench, and you're actually paddling on one side of the boat. So a lot of people think it's more of a rowing, crew action, but it's actually a one-sided paddle, kind of like canoeing as fast as you can in perfect synchronicity, maybe.
Right.
And then in the front of the boat, you have a drummer who's keeping the beat and also kind of co-coaching with your steers person in the back, who is our coach.
Okay, now how long are the paddles? Not too long?
They range, I guess most people's are around probably 45 to 48 centimeters.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and you paddle on the side of the boat.
So you're always on one side of the boat.
Okay, show us how you do it.
It's kind of
yeah, good.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, very good, very good. What is the mission of Dragonheart Vermont, Nina?
Well, the organization supports breast cancer survivors as well as their supporters, actually all cancer survivors and their supporters, through fitness and teamwork and community giving.
Now, how did you get started?
The organization started in 2004 by our founders, John and Linda Dyer. They formed a breast cancer team in Burlington, Vermont, after seeing a dragon boat race in Boston. And so they reached out to friends and families and neighbors, and they got the first breast cancer team called the Sisters together. And that is our first team and the focus of what the organization really stands for, supporting breast cancer survivors.
Now, are Linda and John Dyer still involved with the organization?
Very much so.
That's great. That's wonderful. I'm talking with Nina Atkinson, and she's the executive director of Dragonheart Vermont, and with Abby Kenney, and Abby is the newest and youngest member of Dragonheart Vermont, a paddler, and like all the rest of them, and they are breast cancer survivors, as am I. Our paddlers, any paddlers from the first season still involved with the Dragonheart Vermont?
Very much so. These, again, are paddlers from our first team, which is a breast cancer team. And so our longest time members, which we still have many, are breast cancer survivors.
Do you have any idea the longest member, how long that person's been there, or don't you know?
As long as we've been organized since 2004.
2004? Well,
16 years,
that's very good. Very good. How many members you have, members of Dragonheart Vermont? Approximately how many members do you have now, people involved?
Over 200.
Wow.
And about a third of us are breast cancer survivors.
Okay. So now these members, they all paddle?
Not all of them.
Not all of them. They support the organization, the work you do, and maybe they help you raise money and things like that.
So we do have some original members who no longer paddle but are still very much involved, and so they are our non-paddling members. Mm-hmm. We have supporters as members who help with the team's organizational efforts.
Yep. Now, do you need to recruit people to join you, or do they just line up and come?
We're always recruiting.
Yeah. Well, the more paddlers you have, the more competitive you'll be, and
Right.
the stronger a club you'll have.
Right, absolutely. And how many teams do you have right now?
I
At last
figured out
count?
close to 10 teams.
And 1/3 of these teams comprised of breast cancer survivors.
2 of the 10 are breast cancer teams.
Okay, all right, okay. You don't have to be a breast cancer survivor to come and join Dragonheart Vermont.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at
Okay.
all. You have to have a passion for teamwork and a passion for fitness, and I think everybody, unfortunately, has some tie to cancer or breast cancer.
Right, right. Well, you have to be very fit to do this, don't you, Abby?
Yeah, and some people love the competition too. I think once you try the sport, it's really fun to be on a team sport as an adult and have a coach and practice weekly and really see improvement and get to do these regional races. So,
How did you learn about Dragonheart Vermont, Abby?
I work out at a gym on North Avenue called Snap Fitness, and I've worked out there for a couple years, and we have quite a few people in the gym there who are part of Dragonheart Vermont, including Brett, who is the head trainer. So when they found out that I was diagnosed with cancer last year, they started kind of plugging the sport in the club and saying as soon as I felt strong enough from treatment to start going to the circuit training workouts. So throughout the winter, when we're not on the lake paddling, people do work out together, and we do circuit, a lot of weight training, training the muscle groups that we'll need for paddling.
You go to the indoor pools and paddle away?
No, we don't paddle in the water at all.
No?
It's
Oh,
all
really?
gym style, and then also machines that simulate paddling.
Okay, that's interesting.
So I started in probably March when I was undergoing radiation. I started going to some of the workouts. So I had never even joined, I had never been on the water when I joined. I had never actually paddled. I just really wanted to be a part of it.
Well, wow. What do you like the best, really, about paddling on a dragon boat? What's the best thing for you?
It's the camaraderie and the support. Again, being on a boat or a team with about 25 survivors, you can talk about your side effects or symptoms of treatment, how you're feeling that day, and also see other survivors who are thriving 10, 20, 30 years out of diagnosis. And for me, that mental part of it was the most important, because I was feeling pretty down and not feeling great physically. So it was nice to see that people made it through treatment.
I agree.
And how much fun they were having, and how fit they were.
How long have you actually been a breast cancer survivor, Abby?
I just hit my year mark a couple weeks ago. So, yeah.
I'm 26 years out.
Congratulations.
So,
Congratulations.
I'm a longtime member of the club. It's not really the club you wanted to join, but it's a club filled with, I would say, very brave and very fine people who just keep chugging along.
Agreed.
Right.
Yep, you just do. Where are your dragon boats moored? You call it a mooring, or where are they kept on the water, or whatever?
During the summer, we have a spot right outside by the Coast Guard at the public launch at the Burlington waterfront.
Okay.
So anybody who is having dinner at Splash can see us practicing Monday, Wednesday, Thursday nights in all weathers, but we're always hoping for calm waters and beautiful sunsets.
I go to Splash quite often for dinner. I love the sunsets, and I always wave very, very hard when you guys go by. I think it's great.
Yeah, we love it. We get standing ovations all the time, and people on the ferry wave as they go by. It's really exciting.
As you should. You're deserving of a standing ovation. I'm talking with Dragonheart Vermont breast cancer survivors. And Nina Atkinson is the executive director of Dragonheart Vermont. And Abby Kenney is the newest and youngest breast cancer survivor, and she is now a part of Dragonheart Vermont. So you moor your boat. How much do they weigh?
Well, when they're fully loaded, they're over 3,000 pounds, I believe.
I thought somebody said they were 3 tons, that they were 6,000 pounds.
Oh, that's pretty heavy.
I don't know.
That's pretty heavy?
Sounds heavy.
I think it's more 3,000
Okay,
pounds.
I don't know.
So when you get everybody on board?
When the boat is fully loaded. So one of the competitive strategies that our coaches really struggle with is how to properly seat a boat so that once we get going, we can get up on our plane and essentially glide.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to balance
weight
up to
distribution has a great impact on the success or failure.
So someone runs the rudder and someone beats the drum. You hate the drummer? How do you start out, even when you're practicing? I mean, you have a lot of dead weight there.
That's so true.
How do you get going? Slowly? Fast?
In a race, we start from a dead stop.
Okay.
We listen to our coach, who's in the back as the steersperson, saying, ready, go. But the biggest challenge for all of us, and which is our biggest success when we win, is to paddle in sync.
Right.
We have to be like synchronized swimmers and move in unison.
Okay, yeah. And that's something you have to learn, right, Abby?
Yeah, we do practice after practice. We do starts, and we do building strokes. We try different patterns of strokes, sets of 3, followed by 5, followed by 10, and just work it out to get as fast as possible, as quickly as possible from that dead stop.
Right. It's a dead stop. That's a lot of weight.
In the competitive races where you're not starting backed against a dock, you're actually kind of floating with a moving starting line. So the starts person is telling boat 3, go forward 2 strokes, and so we're all kind of moving, and then the horn goes. So it's pretty stressful, actually, at the beginning.
The starts,
it's like sailboat races.
Yes,
if you go across the line before the whistle goes, then you're in bad trouble. You have to go back.
That's exactly right.
Right, yep.
Yeah, that's when we stay very focused and attention in the boat and listen to the coach.
Right, yeah. How does one become a coach? Is that someone who had been on the team? Or
we have some great coaches. We also have some very new coaches who have really stepped up, and they're awesome. They do take some coaching and steering clinics, but they have to be leaders from inside.
Okay. And you all have to believe in them, right? They're telling you the true clue, what's going on.
100% trust in your
coach. Well, when they get their practices, we practice out in the marina where all these sailboats are moored all summer. So we're constantly looping around boats. So the steers people get a lot of practice doing turns, because that's one of the most important parts.
Yeah, I love to watch practice. I really do. It just it really adds color to the scenery down at the Burlington waterfront.
Can you hear our coaches?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
When you go closer to splash, sometimes you can hear them. Or if there aren't a lot of other boats around, or a ferry boat or something like that, you can hear someone. Yes.
Yeah, we were wondering if the whole town could hear.
Sometimes you don't know what you're saying, but we can hear the voice.
The intensity.
Right. Why dragon boating is becoming more and more popular, not only in our country and in Burlington, but sort of all over the world. Why do you think it has become so popular? Why?
We're actually hearing that dragon boating is the second fastest growing water sport at the moment.
Paddleboarding would be first?
I'm not sure, maybe.
Paddleboarding is very popular too.
Yep, it is. Yep. But the sport itself is non-discriminatory. Any age, any gender, any fitness level, you can get on a boat and enjoy the experience.
Okay. So if someone, can someone just go on your website, say, that looks like a very good thing, and then you have information there where they can show up or who they can contact or whatever, and then they just show up. Do they come with a why do they come? Why do they want to come?
It looks like fun.
Yeah, I think most people hear through a friend or family member about it and come to. We have newbie nights once a month in the summer, so people can come and no pressure, grab a paddle and a PFD and just try it out. And we have all different teams for different age groups. So when somebody first joins, I think everybody asks, how old are you? Because that determines which team they'd be on. Because some teams are over 60 or over 50. Some are mixed gender. So some people qualify for multiple teams. So you have to decide.
Right. So how if you qualify for, say somebody's in their 50s, and they're also a cancer survivor, they would be on a cancer survivor team?
As well as the 50s boat, if they wanted to.
Okay.
There is no age limit or age demarcation to be on the breast cancer team, but all the supporter teams are broken out by gender, men, women, and mixed, as well as the decades. So there's under 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, and 60 and over. And they are talking now about a class for the 70
Wow, that's
and
good.
over.
Our oldest paddler is 89.
Wow.
She turns 90 this year, and she actively paddles twice a week.
How marvelous.
She's amazing.
She's a survivor.
That's good.
Yep.
That's wonderful. You know, there are very few sports where, particularly team sports, where you can keep going a long time. Tennis is one of them. I played doubles tennis till I was 77. I mean, you can play tennis a long time, and it sounds like you can paddle a long time.
She's one of our most fit members too. She religiously does 40 push-ups a day.
Every day.
She's a legend.
Yeah, she is.
Who's this?
Her name is Louise.
Great.
Yep.
Louise,
Yeah,
God bless
she
you. I mean,
puts
that's
us all
wonderful.
to shame. Yeah.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Well, people can choose when they join what kind of level of competition they'd like. Some of the teams are much more recreational and just for fun. So I don't know if that's daunting to people that they say, well, I don't want to go compete in these regional races. But then other people really love the competition. So you get to pick.
Right. I knew someone who was on Dragonheart Vermont, and they had gone to Boston, and they beat the Harvard girls team. And she was so excited about that. So we beat those young chicks.
It is
she was
fun.
she was probably 50 to 60 age, and she came to my pool where I was exercising, and now she was so proud of that. It's wonderful. Yeah. I think that the idea of the whole idea of using your strengths. I mean, one of your strengths as a cancer survivor is that you know other people now, a lot of other people who have had the disease or have the disease. And part of the strength of Dragonheart is just pulling together for goal, and it's marvelous. It just fits together, doesn't it?
It does.
It definitely does. So, Abby, how has Dragonheart Vermont actually helped you as a cancer survivor? What are you in treatment now, or how has Dragonheart Vermont helped you on your journey?
Like I said, it's the camaraderie of having this support system, and they understand when I'm tired or when I'm having a bad day with treatment. I still am in treatment. I'm still receiving infusions. I've been through the hardest part already, the chemotherapy and surgery. And physically, it's helped me because you get stiff from surgery and radiation, and that's why I think dragon boating has become a breast cancer survivor sport, is because of all that rotation, all that shoulder movement. It helps get the lymph moving and get the blood pumping and keep our muscles loose, because almost all of us on the boat had surgery. So some people can only paddle one side or the other, but it's been really beneficial, not only on the physical level, but then also that emotional support and the friendships.
Right. So what you're really saying is that when you first start, it can be hard to do it.
Yes.
Very hard.
It takes a little bit of getting used to. It's a different motion too than most of us have done before.
Right. It's different from paddling a canoe, isn't it?
Very much so.
Why? Why is this?
It's a different stroke altogether. In a canoe, you're all by yourself. So
Well, you can paddle too in a canoe. Yeah.
you can. That's true.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. I think part of it is you have to really, again, you're in perfect sync with all the other paddlers, and you're trying to keep your paddle in the water as long as possible. So a lot of it is about the reach. So it's not this fast and furious standing up. It's all about leaning and getting the paddle in the water at a certain
Canoe
angle.
stroke is an arm movement, and a dragon boat stroke is a full body movement.
Okay.
And so we're trying to focus and find our strength through our larger muscles as opposed through our arms and shoulders.
Okay. Yeah. In a canoe, actually, you get a longer stroke, don't you?
And you're
Yeah, and the person who's in the stern is actually straightening out the canoe, so you can keep going on a straight path. But you have a shorter stroke with more muscle in here. that correct?
In our upper bodies.
Okay.
Actually, my legs get tired when I get out of the boat. My toes are sore, my hands, my shoulders, my arms, my back. I'm using every muscle.
Well, that's good for you, though. That's really good.
Yeah.
How's about sitting on this wooden piece of wood there? Does that bother you?
It does.
That's one of the main accessories that everybody gets as a butt pad. So we all have different versions, but you always have padding underneath.
We protect our butts.
And keep you from sliding too much.
Right,
so
right.
Different versions of yoga mats, or they actually sell all kinds of great stuff now.
Okay.
So
Well,
it's one of the
that's
first
good.
things that I purchased.
Now, do you buy your own paddles?
We provide, the organization does provide paddles and butt pads and PFDs for the.
What are those?
Those are the personal flotation devices. Those
Okay.
are
Life jackets.
life
Okay.
jackets.
Right.
So if anybody wants to come on newbie night or drop-in night, they just come and we supply all the equipment and coaching. But as we get better and find things work better for us, we end up buying our own equipment. Our club paddles are just standard paddles, and the paddles that we compete with are lighter weight, made of different materials.
Now, do you find that, for the lack of a better word, you're cheerleaders for one another? You really,
definitely.
you know, if somebody said if you show up and it's a bad day for you, you can talk about it.
Yeah, we have a great support system that comes from our hearts. It is not prompted by anybody. It's not a requirement. It happens. We all get each other. We understand what our journey. We don't know the specifics of our journeys, but we know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I understand perfectly. I do. I understand perfectly. And there's great strength in numbers.
Yeah.
Great strength in numbers. When I was growing up, breast cancer was something that shush, you know, we didn't talk about it. And I believe that President Ford's wife Betty was one of the first, you know, celebrities, I guess you would say, to say that she had breast cancer. And now it's when I had breast cancer, I was talking about it all the time. People probably got tired listening to me, but I felt, you know, you have to talk about these things, and it's not a big secret. And since people have been talking about it, the treatments for breast cancer have gotten better. They really have, and that's marvelous.
True.
Because it's not just a woman's problem. It's a family problem.
It's a community's problem.
It's a community problem.
Yep.
You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely right. So now let's talk about you have a lot of medals here, and let's start talking about all this. Let's talk about the Lake Champlain Dragon Boat Festival. Now, how was that started?
It's our biggest fundraiser. It is to support Dragonheart Vermont in supporting its members who are breast cancer survivors and supporters through fitness. We go out and practice dragon boat paddling on the waters outside the waterfront, the Burlington waterfront. But we also raise money for charity. So all the money stays local. We choose a nonprofit organization that supports breast cancer and cancer survivors so that they can, in their turn, support the community.
Okay. When you have this festival in the summer, I know that, but you know, people come from all over, do they? In Vermont?
We do. Well, I think the festival is kind of two-pronged, at least. And every year we have one day that's the Sisters at Heart Day, which is all for breast cancer teams. So we have a lot of teams that come from all over the country, mostly the Eastern Seaboard.
Right.
But then the rest of the festival on Sunday, the main fundraising day, is for local community teams. So that's all local businesses. They
that paddle for charity.
Yeah, that sponsor teams and come out and race for charity. And this year the recipient was the McClure Respite House.
Okay.
And last year I think was Integrative Therapies and Cancer Care at the hospital.
Yep.
So there's
Great.
a different recipient every summer.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful to do that.
Yeah.
And it's such a great day. I mean, it's just festive
so
and fun,
much fun.
and you know, it's great. It's a great thing you do for the community.
Yeah.
Marvelous. And you also, now I see Hungary, Florence, I mean, you go all over the world, some of you.
Yes, and next year the Sisters team, which is the breast cancer team, is competing in France.
Ah, so that's 2020. And one team will be going.
Well, there's one breast cancer team going, and then there are 7 other supporter teams from Dragonheart Vermont.
Well, that's marvelous.
So many of our teams qualified to go to Worlds in all the different divisions. So we are in the BCS breast cancer division, but then other teams are in the Premier Mix. So we had a lot of Dragonheart Vermont people be represented.
You guys are good, aren't you?
It's a really good club.
You guys are very good
Yeah.
to get all that.
To come from little Burlington, Vermont, and have that big a presence at a world level competition is pretty amazing.
Oh, I think that's so impressive. Absolutely. Yes, yes. I mean, obviously, even to qualify for these races, you have to be good. It's wonderful. I applaud you. I mean, all the work that you do, practicing all the times that you do, and practice does make perfect, I guess, doesn't it?
At least better.
It works. It works for you.
It's rewarding.
It is. I'm sure it is. Now, we don't have a lot of time left, but on your materials, you write that Dragonheart Vermont is a team with a heart. Okay, now let's talk about this. What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
It's a sisterhood. It's a family, and everybody chips in, pulls their weight, and supports each other, and we all have a lot of fun together. We have social gatherings. It's just much more than a sport.
Okay.
And much more than a club.
Yeah.
We care about our organization. We care about our community. As an individual member, and I'm fairly new to the organization. I've been with Dragonheart Vermont just a little over 3 years. I don't have sisters. I have 2 brothers. And when I joined this organization, I now have so many sisters. And that, to me, that's heart.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, and I'm sure that people who have been on the teams, who for one reason or another have retired, they must still come back and cheer you on, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They still feel part of the organization.
Yeah.
And I know I feel part of the organization. I've never been out there paddling, but I know why you're there.
Next summer.
Yeah, I know.
Come join us.
I know why you're there, and that's one reason I hate to splash so much, because I can look out over the water and see you, and you're devoted, and it shows up. I mean, it really, people, somebody will ask at another table, who are those people? What is this? And then when we'll talk about it, and they'll say, oh, what a wonderful thing to do.
Thank you.
And I think it is a wonderful thing to do. And carry on. I wish you the very best of luck in 2020.
Thank
and I'm
you.
sure you'll all have fun, France,
Of
in
course.
addition to paddling. I mean, after all. And thank you for coming. And thank you for supporting breast cancer survivors like myself. And thank you for joining us on Conversations with Kay.
Thank you.